What is up, guys? Welcome to Arsenal Fan TV, and we have just beaten Leicester City by 2-1 at the Emirates Stadium. And after 3 or so days, we are back above Spurs, and that result certainly isn't looking as disastrous as it was a couple of days ago. After things have been put into perspective a little bit more, things aren't looking as bad as they were at the weekend. But this game, really, it was a game of two halves. Certainly, that's one way of describing it, but I'd certainly regard it as a mismatched performance from Arsenal. Certainly areas of the pitch that you could say that we need to improve upon in this game. But overall, it was an odd one. A really weird game to be talking about. I felt it started really well, and I felt that Wenger certainly wanted to make a point in this game. You could tell that from the team lineup. It was a really exciting team lineup. Just let me start with that, because that I think is the most interesting talking point of this game. We had so much flair, so much pace, so much attacking talent going forward. Ramsey was dropped, rightly so. Certainly a good move by Wenger. And we also saw Olivier Giroud dropped, which I think was a good move as well, because he didn't do much. He didn't offer a lot in that Spurs game, and I think he could be a crucial player at the weekend against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. But when Giroud came on, he failed to impress me, if I'm being brutally honest. I thought for that last 10-15 minutes that he was on the pitch, I felt he didn't grow into the game whatsoever. He offered very little, and maybe that's one reason why he was dropped for this game. I do feel there are times with Giroud that he does have lapses of concentration. He's a player that very rarely plays to the whistle, and that frustrates me about him. I think that became so evident in this game. But he was dropped today, and we saw Sanchez start as the centre forward. We also saw him start with Walcott and Mesut Ozil, something that this season I've been absolutely crying out to see for. Mesut Ozil, Theo Walcott, Alexis Sanchez all starting together, along with Santi Cazorla and Thomas Rosicky. That attacking flair going forward, you'd think would be banging in goals left, right and centre, but it wasn't as simple as that. Leicester, I thought, lined up very well. I think Alexis Sanchez, it was pretty clear to see that he'd just come back from injury. I felt there were times where he was very isolated. Wenger was saying in his post-match conference that he would have taken Sanchez off at half-time if he hadn't said that he wanted to play on. I thought it was clear that he was only just coming back from an injury. But hopefully that won't be a persistent thing with him. Hopefully in the game against Middlesbrough, if he's fit for that game, we'll see a bit more from him up top. But it was good to see him back in the team all round anyway, and great to see him line up with those players alongside him, Mesut Ozil, Cazorla, etc. And it just showed the depth we've got in the side. But I was going to get on to Leicester. I thought they lined up very well in this game. For a team that's 20th in the league, let's just address that first of all. They're 20th in the league, and they played well against us today. I honestly thought that there were times in this game where they could have at least got a point out of it. They lined up, I wouldn't say they lined up defensively. From the get-go, they really looked like they were going for it. And in the first 5-10 minutes, they rattled us a bit. I certainly felt that they certainly had some good chances to score. They were getting corners early on. They had some good opportunities, and it did look a bit worrying at that point. We did look like a side low on confidence, like we just suffered a big defeat, and Leicester wanted to take advantage of that. I think Pearson set up in the right way, in the right manner, and they looked dangerous going forward. They certainly had a threat up top. They had some decent players up there. I thought Cambiasso was a player that was very involved for them. They certainly looked a lot more dangerous in the second half when they brought on Nugent and Ochoa. They looked very good at that point. And Kramaric, I think I've got his name right there. I don't know if I have, but he was certainly a player that was involved in a lot of their play going forward and was one of their most key and influential playmakers, if you were. And overall, I just thought for a team that is 20th, I thought they lined up very well against us. And I think that it was a bit hard for us at times. I certainly felt that I feel that this result is a bit underwhelming. I would have liked us to have come out of this game with a 3-4 convincing 0 win, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. Overall, I am glad with the 3 points. Let's just get out of the way first. I am really pleased that we got 3 points out of this game, but it would have been nice if we could have been a little bit more convincing, if we could have had a bit more of a confidence boosting result and just shown that game against Spurs was a bit of a blip. And with the talent we had going forward, I would have expected more goals. There were times when we looked very fluid, but at times it did look a little bit shaky. There's no getting away from that. I thought there were times when people were giving the ball away an awful lot. But apart from that, I can't really criticise the team too much. I don't want to pick out individuals too much. One thing I will pick up on that I did notice persistently was Hector Bellerin being caught out of position numerous times in that first half. That was an area of the pitch that Leicester was so blatantly exposing in that first half. Don't want to lay into Bellerin. I do think he's a quality player for us, but this does need addressing. He was caught out of position a lot in this game, caught out of position a lot in the game against Spurs, and in my opinion, he is a player that relies so heavily on confidence, but that's understandable given his age. With time it will come. We've seen what a talent he is, and with a run of games, which he's getting at the moment, if he continues to put in good performances, if he addresses the area of his game that we've seen that can be a bit vulnerable at times in today's game, in the game against Spurs, then there's no doubt that he's going to be a solid player for us in the months and years to come. But I don't want to lay into him too much at all today. David Ospina as well, I thought he was a decent player, but the one area of his game that is becoming pretty obvious that is a weakness at times, parrying the ball out to the opposition. But that's enough rambling to that. Let's get into the game itself. Started it off, I think we were probably the lesser team in the first 10-15 minutes. If I'm being brutally honest, I thought Leicester were on top of us and they had the better chances. It did take us about 15-20 minutes to really grow into this game. We weren't really taking our chances that came to us, and the best chance that I can really visualise in the back of my mind was Theo Walcott getting a good chance on goal when he tried to chip it over Schwarzer, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do so, and that's the most clear-cut chance that I think we had up until the Laurent Koscielny goal. Awful defending by Leicester, there's no doubts about that. Koscielny was left completely unmarked, ran into the ball and tucked it neatly into the far post. Great goal by him. Excellent delivery from Mesut Ozil. Ozil, the man of the match today. I don't think there are many players I can pick out as a star performer or a man of the match today, but he was certainly the most influential player on the pitch, involved in both of the goals. It was great to see that. But that corner was decent into Koscielny. A great finish by him. At 1-0 up, you would expect us to go on and grab a couple of more. For about 3 or 4 minutes after that goal, we had a couple of opportunities in which to really put the game to bed. We didn't take them, and Leicester grew into get into the game a little bit more and responded well after the goal. However, we did score again, and this was a really good goal. Mesut Ozil with a fantastic shot, parried away by Schwarzer into the path of Theo Walcott. Class finish by Walcott. And how good have Mesut Ozil and Theo Walcott been since coming back from injury? It's great to see these two players that can be so influential and so massive to our club at the moment. Really proving a point, really making a claim in the team, and they're being so beneficial to the squad at the moment. The finish by Walcott is incredibly underrated. I thought it was a class finish by him, but the shot by Ozil, I don't know if that's going to count as an assist or not, but if it does, it's 2 assists for him today. But since he's come back from his injury, he's been nothing short of sublime for us. He doesn't take over games, but he is subtle in what he does, and he does it to such a high standard. A very appreciated player at the moment. It's great to see. Great to see that he's getting a lot of support from the fans, and long may it continue. Him and Walcott seem to be linking up together so well, and this is what Arsenal fans have been dying to see, those two link up with Sanchez in the team. With all these pacey players we've got going forward, I mean, we've got Welbeck, who's another pacey player, and then we've got Gnabry coming back. We are spoiled up top at the moment. We just got to be taking our chances when they come to us, and we should be putting teams like Leicester to bed. Leicester did get back into the game though for a goal that was so poor to concede. I think I can't quite remember how it originated, but I think it was a corner, and then Coquelin, the ball went really high in the air. We failed to clear it, basically. It was really poor clearing. Coquelin, I think, put the ball in the air. We failed to clear it from there, and then Cazorla or Rosicky, I can't remember, tried to get the ball away. And we do this so much. I know that we want to play attractive football and we want to play it out from the back, but when you've got people trying to run around, take it past big, bulky Leicester players, it's not going to work. You're not going to do it when you're playing around your 18-yard box like that. They closed the ball down, and it was a tidy finish past Ospina. I can't remember the Leicester player that put it in the back of the net, but it was a decent goal, and that really gave Leicester life in this game. And that last stretch of the game, that last 20-30 minutes was horrible. It was absolute dire. We played some atrocious football, in my opinion. If I'm being honest, we didn't look like scoring. Leicester looked like the more likely side to get a goal, and they might be leaving this game feeling a bit hard done by that they weren't able to salvage a point in this game, which they could argue that they deserve. But I think overall we were the more dominant side and worthy of the 3 points. And the performance aside, the only real important thing was that we need to get 3 points in this game. But fair play to Leicester, credit where it's due. They put up a good battle today, and they could have got something out of this game. It does look like they're going to be going down at the moment if they don't get their act together. Pearson, I think he can take confidence from this game. He did line up correctly, and they've just really got to take self-belief from this game. I thought they played well. They've got some good players. Schlupp was a player that impressed me. Kramaric impressed me. Their defence actually looked very well drilled at times. I don't think that we exposed their defence as much as we could have done, but it's going to be interesting to see where Leicester come at the end of the season. It's also going to be interesting to see where we come at the end of the season, but most importantly, it's a big 3 points for us. Big game against Middlesbrough on Sunday in the FA Cup. The last thing we want is a replay in that game, so that is a must win for us. But those are basically my thoughts on Arsenal's victory against Leicester. Not the most glamorous of performance, but at the end of the day, it's 3 points. I'm pleased with it. If you've enjoyed the video, please do smash that like button. Subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV. Do check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game. I'll speak to you soon, guys.